year 645 AD, the ancient kingdom of Goguryeo stood on the edge of collapse. At that very moment, Emperor Taizong of the mighty Tang Empire unleashed a colossal army to lay siege to Ansi Fortress. But what he didn't know was that inside those walls awaited a warrior unlike any other, General Yang Man-chun, a man whose courage would ignite a fierce battle for survival. With just 5,000 soldiers, Yang Man-chun faced an overwhelming force, 500,000 Tang troops. The odds were impossible, yet he did not waver. His sharp mind, relentless strategy, and unbreakable leadership forged a battle that would echo through history, a symbol of pride and unyielding spirit for Korea. The screen fills with dust and thunder as the vast Tang army marches toward Ansi Fortress. Emperor Taizong's voice commands, "This fortress must fall, no matter the cost, for if Ansi falls, the fate of Goguryeo will be sealed." Inside the fortress, Commander Yang Man-chun stands ready, alongside a few thousand brave souls. Their courage, greater than their numbers, defies belief. To them, defending this fortress means defending their very homeland. Leading the charge, Shimul moves like a deadly arrow through the battlefield. Enemy arrows rain down, but the Goguryeo warriors do not retreat. Their belief is simple: strike first, strike hard. And with that fire, they break through enemy lines, surging forward with fierce determination. From afar, Taizong watches, the courage of the Goguryeo soldiers undeniable. Slowly, their resistance turns into a threat. His advisors warn, they grow dangerous. Taizong's cold response, let them come deeper. The Goguryeo forces push forward, breaking through the second line of defense, only to meet an even fiercer resistance. And then, the secret move. From behind, a fresh Tang army attacks. The trap snaps shut. Shimul's voice rises in alarm. It's a trap. We've walked right into it. But even now, the full weight of the enemy's cunning remains hidden, and the battle for Ansi Fortress is far from over. Meanwhile, Emperor Taizong commands, "Now, the battle begins. Prepare yourselves." His soldiers swiftly surround the Goguryeo forces from two sides and unleash a merciless assault. This scene reveals why the Tang army is feared by all. Once they strike, the entire battlefield becomes a last refuge for the enemy. Shimul watches helplessly as his soldiers fall one by one, yet he refuses to surrender. His brother fights fiercely by his side, sharing every desperate breath. But the Tang army is vast, and the Goguryeo forces are rapidly dwindling. Seeing this, the Goguryeo commander orders, "Retreat now." That is the wisest choice. Meanwhile, almost all of Shimul's comrades lie fallen. Even his brother breathes his last right before his eyes. After this brutal battle, Taizong proves why he is called the Master of War. Later, the Goguryeo commander is seen escaping with a handful of survivors, barely alive. Their advisor solemnly reports, out of 150,000, only 10,000 have returned. We have suffered a tragic defeat. At the same time, in Taizong's court, a young woman named Shimi is brought forward, gifted with the mysterious power to see the future. The Tang soldiers report, some Goguryeo have fled, but we have captured weapons. And this girl, Taizong picks up an ancient bow and tries to string it, but despite all efforts, he fails. Shimi explains, this bow belonged to our ancient king Jumin. None other could ever wield it. It is a symbol of victory. Whoever holds it shall be the conqueror, she adds. Taizong smiles. Then this bow is a sign of our fortune. Now begin the next campaign. First Ansi Fortress, then the capital. Everything must fall into our hands. His voice filled with iron resolve. Confident and unshakable, Taizong declares, no one can stop us. Very soon, all of Korea will be under our control. Meanwhile, a Goguryeo commander turns to Shimul and says, we have suffered a devastating defeat, and the blame lies with Ansi Fortress's commander, Yang. He continues, we asked him for reinforcements, but he sent only a handful of soldiers. If he had sent the entire force, the outcome today could have been very different. He has betrayed us, and because of him, so many have died. Then, with a heavy heart, he makes a harsh decision. You must go to Ansi now and finish Yang. Taizong will eventually capture the walls of Ansi, but if Yang falls before that, we gain precious time to regroup and protect the capital. Determined, Shimul sets off with his small team toward Ansi. On the way, they come across some villagers whose cart has become stuck in a deep pit. Without hesitation, Shmuel and his soldiers rush to help. It is here that Shmuel realizes the very man he's been seeking is among them. Just then, one of Shmuel's men tries to attack Yang, but Yang's soldiers respond instantly, killing 2 of Shmuel's men and capturing Shmuel himself. They are brought before the walls of Ansi. Yang speaks to Shmuel, "I know you see me as the enemy. Why have you come?" Before Shmuel can answer, the master arrives. Seeing Shmuel, his face lights up with relief. For Shmuel is the only survivor of his team, the rest fell in battle. Yet even now, Shmuel calls the walls of Ansi his home. Yang then releases Shmuel. But Shmuel does not forget his mission. Under the cover of night, he tries to kill Yang. Then he sees it, Yang quietly holding a small child in his arms, because Yang cares deeply, even for the smallest needs of every member in his team. Moved by this sincerity, Shmuel abandons his plan. The next morning, Siren is alive. Yang spots a soldier nearby, and from that, he senses Taizong is close. Yang senses it. Taizong is preparing to launch the next assault on Ansi, so he commands his troops. The battle has begun. Everyone, ready yourselves. But before the fight, Yang asks Shmuel to cut some strands from his beard. For Shmuel, this was the perfect chance to strike Yang down. Yet suddenly, his hand trembles uncontrollably. Seeing this, Yang calmly says, "You will get many more chances to harm me." Then Yang steps outside, joining his warriors, standing tall and fearless, like lions ready to defend their den. Suddenly, Yang spots Taizong's massive army advancing. Only 9 soldiers, but armed with terrifying weapons. The Ansi defenders grow uneasy. Taizong commands nearly 200,000 troops, while they have barely 5,000. How can we possibly hold them off, they wonder. Meanwhile, Yang rallies his men, voice strong and steady. "This is the moment we were born for. Though the enemy outnumbers us 10 to 1, look behind you. See the faith shining in your comrades' eyes. If we fall, those beasts will descend on our women and children like wild dogs. So do not even think of defeat. Today, we build the stairs to the enemy's downfall. Are you ready?" His words ignite a fierce roar of victory from the soldiers. Taizong steps forward, addressing his troops. "You think you can stand against us? Your arrogance will be punished. Your women and children will pay the price. Those who fight will die, and your women will become rewards for our soldiers. Victory will be ours." Fueled by battle frenzy, Taizong sits down and orders his troops to launch the first volley of stones. Taizong's soldiers begin hurling massive rocks toward Ansi's walls. Yang's warriors respond with their own barrage, aiming to shatter the enemy's spirit before the battle truly begins. The stone assault rages for hours, aiming to break down the fortress walls. But no matter how hard they strike, the walls hold strong, only the outer surface showing signs of damage. Then news reaches Taizong. "Their wall is stronger than we thought. Even our stones can't break through." Taizong's eyes narrow. "Then climb the walls and finish them," he commands. At once, his soldiers charge forward. Yang hears of their approach and swiftly orders, "Archers, fire!" From atop the towering walls, Yang's archers rain arrows down like a storm. They have the height advantage. Every shot strikes with deadly precision, but Taizong's army is vast, relentless. Even after countless arrows, they keep coming. Soon, they reach the walls. Ladders go up, hands claw upward. The siege has truly begun. Ansi's soldiers do everything to hold them back, yet every time they repel one wave, another follows. Sensing the pressure, Yang orders a brutal defense. "Drop the spiked logs, hurl the stones." Jagged spikes and heavy rocks rain down on the climbing invaders. Still, they persist. Taizong's men bring colossal siege ladders, storming up to the top. There, hand-to-hand combat erupts, but Yang has planned for this. Behind the wall, another unit waits, ready to strike the moment the enemy gets over. Now, the real clash begins. Yang and his warriors unleash their full might. Atop the wall, it's a storm of steel and fury. No enemy can stand before even one of Yang's elite. They fight with the desperation of men who know that if they lose, everything ends. So, they hold the wall, every inch, with blood and fire. When the attackers are stalled at the front, they shift focus, pounding at the gate with brute force. If that gate falls, Ansi will be overrun. Taizong knows this. "Break down the rear gate," he shouts. Another wave circles behind, hammers and fire in hand. But Yang was ready. He gives the signal, and from the shadows, his troops launch a devastating counterattack. 2 sides, 1 enemy, no escape. Taizong's forces are crushed, fast and mercilessly. The tide turns. Still, one section of the wall's gate is breached. The enemy forces pour in, but they walk right into Yang's trap. Inside the wall, they are caught like flies in a deadly web. Young's soldiers surrounded the enemy from all sides, swift, silent, merciless. The hunter had now become the hunted. Then, the warriors of Ansi stood together as one unbreakable wall. With a powerful push, they threw the invaders off the wall. Wooden towers built on ropes were also destroyed, leaving the enemy with no way to climb again. They were out of options. Tai Zhang, once seen as a sly rat, was actually a raging tiger. But today, even the tiger stood helpless. Shimol stood in awe. He had never seen anything like this. Yang had proven that victory in war isn't just about numbers. It's about courage, patience, and heart. That night, Shimol quietly came to Yang and said, Tai Zhang won't sit still now. He's going to strike again, stronger and fiercer. Yang replied calmly, I know, but we'll protect this wall until our last breath. Tonight, let everyone rest. The next morning, Shimol saw no movement from Tai Zhang, not a single soldier in sight. Silence covered the battlefield, a silence that hid something dangerous. Yang realized it instantly. Tai Zhang was planning something big, and he was hiding it well. Another day passed, and that night, Shimol, burning with anger, confronted Yang. Why didn't you send your soldiers to help us? Our people are dying because of your decisions. Yang looked at him, then spoke slowly. Fighting Tai Zhang in the open is suicide. He has too many soldiers. Even our general tried and failed. We lost thousands that day. If I had sent troops to help you, they would have died with you. And we would have lost this wall, our only true strength. This wall is what keeps us alive. Just then, soldiers rushed in with urgent news. Massive towers were rolling toward them, built by Tai Zhang's army. And from atop those towers, flaming arrows rained down. They were setting fire to the wall, trying to burn not just the wood, but the spirit of the defenders. At last, Tai Zhen's soldiers leapt from the tower and began climbing the walls. They were overwhelming in number, and Yang's warriors weren't fully prepared for such a sudden assault. From a distance, Taiz watched the battlefield unfold and told Shimi, Tonight, this wall will be mine. When Yang came outside, he saw the enemy pressing hard. His comrades warned him if this went on, the enemy would breach the wall. Despite their brave sacrifices, the sudden ambush left Yang's men shaken. Still, they vowed to fight on. Yang ordered for oil and pots to be brought. With all his might, he threw himself into the battlefield. He was a true warrior, facing hundreds alone. Beside him was Shimul, giving him strength. Yang set the towers ablaze, and it looked as if fire was raining from the sky onto the enemies. That fire ignited his soldiers' spirits. With renewed courage, they launched a furious counterattack. One by one, Yang burned the towers, piercing through the middle ranks, and pushed toward the final stronghold. Tai Zhang was stunned by this turn of events. When his soldiers charged at Yang, Shimul struck them down from behind, and once again, Tai Zhang's army fell. Yang soon began to recover from his wounds. Meanwhile, Tai Zhang roared at his commander, I've won countless battles. Why can't I conquer this tiny wall? Bring me down there myself. Then he turned to Shimi and ordered, Take your sacred bow. Go to the wall and deliver my message to every last one of them. Simi stepped toward the wall, raised her sacred bow high, and declared, Tai Zhang has sent me. He wants you to bow before him because what he's about to do, none of you can survive. Yang stepped forward and asked, What is he going to do? Simi's voice grew heavier. He will build a wall of earth right before your eyes. At her words, fear spread like wildfire. The next morning, Tai Zhen's soldiers began piling up soil in front of the wall, raising a massive earthen barrier. The soldiers of Ansi had no way to stop them from below, because in the open fields, facing Tai Zhen's forces meant certain death. And that was Tai Zhen's true strategy. If they came down, they'd be slaughtered. But if the wall was completed, they'd be trapped forever. Seeing this unfold, Yang realized Simi had spoken the truth. That night, he returned to her once again. I came here to save you, Simi said softly. I've seen the future of this wall. A storm of arrows will rain down on your people. Their bodies will form a mountain of the dead. There's only one way to survive. Bow to Tai Zhen. He has sworn to grant you all that you desire. But Yang stood tall and said, We may die, but we will never bow to him. The next day, Tai Zhen's army worked tirelessly. The wall was nearly complete. Shimul turned to Yang and said, I will go to Commander Yang and ask for his help. He sees me as the enemy, Yang replied. Then he's mistaken, Shimul said firmly. I'll make him understand. I believe he will. Yang nodded. Very well, you may go. Then one of Yang's most trusted comrades stepped forward. If we kill Tai Zhen himself, he said, we can win this war. His army is too focused on building the wall. This is our only chance. Once the wall is up, we'll have no way out." Yang gave the order to prepare for battle. Under cover of night, they set out to assassinate Taijin. They managed to overpower several of his men, but inside, Taijin's soldiers were already waiting. Pasu realized the truth. It was a trap. Someone had betrayed them. The enemy struck suddenly. Pasu and his men fought back fiercely. Pasu managed to escape and rush to warn Yang of the betrayal, but not long after, he fell, never to rise again. Yang learns that it was Simi who warned Taijin about the assassination attempt, but before Taijin could be taken down, Shimul slit his throat. Afterwards, Shimul went to Commander Yang for help and revealed everything. "We misunderstood Commander Yang," he admitted. Meanwhile, Yang noticed Taijin's wall rising faster than ever. Suddenly, he saw children playing in the dust, and that sparked an idea. To destroy Taijin's wall, they needed to weaken its foundation. He called his soldiers and said, "If we can remove the soil from beneath where Taijin is building, the whole wall will collapse." Miner responded, "The soil here is soft. We can finish quickly." As Taijin's wall neared completion, Yang's men secretly began tunneling beneath it from their own wall. While Taijin focused on building up, Yang focused on bringing it all down. To stabilize the tunnel, Miner used wooden supports so the structure wouldn't cave in too early. Taijin's soldiers declared, "By tomorrow, our wall will be complete." On the other side, Yang told Miner, "By tomorrow, our work will be done too. We'll set fire to it and reduce their wall to ashes." But fate had other plans. That night, heavy rains fell, flooding the tunnel and soaking everything. Miner told Yang, "The firewood won't catch. It's too wet." By morning, Taijin's army was lined up, ready to launch their final assault. Yang's men desperately tried to ignite the damp firewood with oil, but it barely burned. They told Yang, "We'll have to cut it by hand." Yang warned, "If you do that, you'll all be crushed beneath the wall." But Miner stood tall. "We are ready to die to protect our wall." With axes in hand, Miner's team began hacking through the supports. At that very moment, Taijin commanded his soldiers, "Climb the wall." A massive wave of his troops surged forward. Just as they began to scale Yang's wall, Miner's men finished their work. And then, Taijin's mighty wall crumbled. The miners below had given their lives to protect the wall, and their sacrifice was not in vain. The enemy's great wall shattered like dust, collapsing into ruin, burying Taijin's men beneath it. One by one they fell, and Yang watched as their most powerful weapon was reduced to rubble. Taijin stood frozen in disbelief. Seizing the moment, Yang rallied his forces and charged at the surviving enemies. Taijin shouted at his commanders, "Where were you when they were digging tunnels?" They answered, "We will not retreat. We will kill them all, then take the wall." Yang raised his voice, full of resolve. "Every breath we take today will decide the future of our children and our women. Either we win and make history, or we fall into this earth together. My shadows, be ready." In moments, a massive enemy force stormed toward them, but Yang and his men had the high ground. They rained fire from above, thinning the enemy ranks. Still, Taijin's soldiers clawed their way up, relentless. The battle raged through the night, unending. Yang's soldiers fired arrows until their hands bled, but the enemy refused to stop. Dawn broke, and Taijin, swollen with pride, kept the fight going. By then, Yang's archers had run out of arrows. A soldier breathlessly reported, "Commander, we're out of arrows." Yang looked upon the sea of enemy troops. Victory was still far. He said, "Bring me the sacred bow." But the wood was gone. They had no fire left to hold the line. Taijin, sensing weakness, sent his elite Sonus. "Bring me Yang's head," he commanded. The sacred bow was finally brought forth. Yang told his men, "There's only one path now. If I kill Taijin, the battle ends." But his warriors hesitated. No arrow can reach that far. Yang replied, "This sacred bow can, but no one has wielded it since Jumong." His soldiers, eyes burning with hope, said, "We believe in you. Try. We'll hold them off." Just then, Taijin's men broke through. The soldiers of Yang fought back fiercely. Even the women stood to fight, but against armored men, they were overpowered and slaughtered. Yang watched his comrades fall one after another. With all his might, he drew the sacred bow once more. He whispered a prayer and loosed the arrow, sending it flying through the air. The arrow struck Taijin in the eye, but Taijin did not die. Writhing in agony, he still refused to retreat. That's when they heard the rumble. Goguryeu's army had arrived. Shimul stood tall, leading General Lian's forces behind him. Taijin looked at the tide turning and yelled, "We're losing! Fall back!" His soldiers scattered in fear, and Ansi stood victorious. In the end, truth prevailed, and falsehood fell. It isn't always might that wins wars, but but those who walk the path of righteousness shall always triumph. Friends, how did you like today's story? If you enjoyed it, please let me know by leaving a comment, and don't forget to give it a like. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. Your love is my greatest inspiration. Thank you so much for watching the video.